the next 45-50 minutes, we'll be talking about a very important topic which has been discussed in other panel discussions about using technology to drive operational efficiencies in the retail. And we have heard, I think, many times today that CFOs are taking the key position in not only evaluating those ideas, but also driving those ideas into results. So we're going to discuss some aspects that, what is it that CFOs are seeing, how these technologies you evaluate, what is your thinking process. Also, maybe past experiences. I know Sameer, Gaurav, they have, driven such programs, very successfully. What has their learnings been? And we also want to, send out a message to people who are outside of this room in terms of what could be those guiding principles when it comes to technology and what specifically CFO should look out for to make such programs successful. So just to get the discussion kick-started, this topic of AI IoT, I'm sure everybody's familiar, but just for context setting, it essentially means the physical infrastructure that, coming from a retail background, it could be about our air conditioners, our UPS. If you are in the grocery retail, it talks about your refrigeration. So these are capital investments that almost every store is incurring. And traditionally, these equipments don't tend to give us any signs of life. Only time we understand these equipments are existing is either when there's a breakdown and there's a lot of pressure on the operation team because we are losing sales, or when we find that suddenly our electricity bills are beyond the budgeted amount. And so this has been the traditional approach. What AI and IoT is trying to bring here is to give these equipments some sort of a life. That can they tell us how they are, behaving, operating, almost on a real-time basis, so that everybody who's involved in using those equipment can proactively manage them. We are not waiting for surprises, both on energy or on breakdown. So that is really the power of this technology, and we have seen that in India over the last 6-7 years, almost every important segment, including retail or food service or banking, wherever such investments are made, they have adopted this technology. So starting with this, maybe I'll set the first question rolling, and we can go around the table. That from a CFO lens, how do you view a technology like this? Like, is it important for you? Has it gained importance in the last few years, that without this kind of a technology, maybe it's difficult for you to look at cost, more importantly budgets, etc. So Dharmendra, maybe we can start from you. Please use the mic because they are recording, so we can pass the mic along.
Sure. First of all, thank you for inviting me in this panel discussion here. In my view, of course, technology is a business enabler. It's not, we can't see it as a cost center, but it's more of a business enabler. But of course, whenever you do some technological implementation, it also comes with some ROI, correct? That's the expectation of any finance professional which is there. Specifically on this question, whether these kind of technologies are relevant or not, definitely it does, and it is pretty relevant. If your scale is high, then it is all the more critical, correct? If you have only 50, 60 store, 100 store, it may not be so critical. But if you're managing, so let's say we have 3,500 stores. Managing 3,500 stores without those technologies is a big problem statement. And with these technologies, where it makes our life easy, ensure that there's no sales loss happening, it gives us a significant boost in our operational efficiencies from that perspective. And definitely, as a business, we don't want to lose even an hour sale. So if my AC is down or something is not working, it definitely impacts sales. And hence, currently we have a lot of backup arrangement internally. We have tie-up with multiple agencies on EMC part. But finally, if we are able to give us a dashboard or something which can help us, one, have 100% uptime. At the same time, it also ensures that we get a proper dashboards and cost efficiencies that can definitely help business from this technology perspective.
Your opening remarks.
So yeah, I would echo what Dharmendra has said in terms of the overall efficiency. One is, since the sustainability is now picking up very big way, right? Although more it becomes more important now to have those numbers dashboard, because keeping all those manually may not be accurate, complete, and doesn't solve the purpose per se, I would say. Plus, along with that, it gives us lots of insights, right? Apart from the cost saving, there are many insights which you can get along with it. So I would say that it is maybe a smaller organization is still may not find the cost benefit, but yeah, any medium level and above that probably makes sense for them to start adopting these technologies. Yeah, thanks.
Just to add,
Yeah.
sorry, just one thing to add. So if we restrict this, and if some technology can give us a complete analytics rather than just focusing only on HVAC or air conditioning, if you give a store complete analytics, how much I'm spending on lighting, how much I'm spending on HVAC, how much I'm spending on something else, and give a complete picture, that would be much more beneficial than just restricting ourselves to this part.
Yeah, so in the context of discussion, I think we're talking about broader, so it could be any important equipment inside the store. Could be even your UPS system, which is the backbone of your POS. Yeah, internet. Yeah.
Yeah, I am in agreement with both of them, but technology plays a pivotal role in managing day-to-day affairs. Since we are also into the hundreds of stores spread across pan-India states, and in case I am getting a complete dashboard of all the spends which I am having on a recurring nature or of a fixed cost or a variable cost across all the states, that can be a very helpful feature for a CFO to look into the benefits and what other initiative they might have to take to reduce those I mean non-productive cost also. So that can be a major challenge, and we are also looking for some feasible solution with limited investment with the greater benefits.
Yeah, traditionally the role of CFO has changed, right? From number crunching to giving value-added points to the table for management discussion, etc. And especially in the industry like retail, where volume is very significant, and retail will succeed when there is huge volume. So when we have so much of volume, we need lot of automations, AI being used, IoT being used, doing a predictive analysis. And one more big important pillar for retail industry is managing working capital, keeping correct inventory at the correct point of time. So for all these things, predicting usage, understanding the demand for huge big stores, manually thinking and all is impossible. So we should be predicting it. For that, we need to use technology. AI and IoT is, according to me, is not the future. It is the present. We should be adopting it, embracing the change and going ahead.
So I think retail historically has been always been a labor intensive, right? And I think technology is something which can help to deliver things consistently and keep measuring the success of those things, whether we are being able to be consistent. So I think technology helps in all aspects for retail, whether to maximize revenue or improve the productivity and control the cost. I think the solutions which are there in the market and things that we have worked together, I think it gives both, whether equipment failure can lead to a loss of revenue because you cannot serve the product, but the equipment failure will also utilize more energy cost, so there is a cost inefficiency. So I think there are solutions which helps you, a common solution which is going to help you both way, uh, avoiding cost, unnecessary cost, as well as ensuring your revenue assurance is there and you're not losing revenue on any part.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, when it comes to say use of technology for enhancing the efficiency of any equipment and saving on cost and power consumption and all those things. Technology definitely in every field it has importance. In retail trade, more than stores, I feel, and we are exploring some technology which can help us save energy consumption in the distribution center, where the consumption is much higher than respective stores. Stores are equally important. But most of these stores are managed by mall. We are present only in malls. So there we have limited scope of conserving anything or use of technology, but still we are open to using any technology that helps us in bringing down the cost. As he rightly mentioned that sustainability is another area which every enterprise or every company is looking at. So we are focusing more on carbon accounting, integrating it with our normal accounting system, by means of which we would be able to measure exactly the amount of consumption, the total consumption of energy, whatever the technology is. We haven't even implemented any technology till now, but we are looking out for a technology which can help us reduce our costs on energy consumption, as well as at the same time help us in meeting the sustainability compliance. So carbon accounting is something when we are looking at some kind of, say, technology which can help us in evaluating the complete data or statistics of complete technology, complete energy and whatever the areas are. So that is another area which we are looking at. Coming to supply chain, since we almost all the retailers do online transactions, e-commerce transactions, and the fulfillment is done at the back, normally in the distribution center. So that is where the requirement is more because the energy consumption is higher when you are doing all those, what do you call it, the allocation of taking out the complete sorting machines and all those things, and packing areas and all those platforms or the tables that we use for packing and sorting. That is where the energy consumption is higher, as well as manual labor is much higher. If there's something which can be automated over there, the speed of fulfillment will increase with reduction in energy as well. So that's all.
Yes, I agree with all basically, especially with Naveen basically. What I think that in retail we have a limited scope of energy saving and everything because bills and everything is being charged by the mall only. We have a factory at Nasik and along with a distribution center and head office in Bombay. Okay. Last month, if I give the right example, we have a carrier AC across the office. Our bills suddenly shoot up with around 50% in 1 month. Everything was perfectly. Then we analyzed the bill and they think some power factor got reduced. So why the power factor got reduced, no one has been given clue basically. If some technology can give me pre-intimation that this is happening because of XY reason, take a corrective action, preventive action in advance, it will be safe to us basically. We did some corrective action later, now it is in place. But definitely we are looking for some technology who can give a pre-intive information, preventive, what action should be done, so that power factor, everything will be in line. And what he said rightly, yes, we have a distribution sector, a factory, where the solar system has already been put in place to save that electricity bills and all these things. Okay.
Good afternoon to everyone and thanks HAPS. I know HAPS for long. I mean, we have been working for long and we did a lot of work together on tech front. And we didn't start it with a theory of cost saving or the need of cost saving. Our biggest focus was how we can give a consistent experience to our customer. And we realized, and I tell you, I mean, when I was talking to HAPS and I was running a QSR chain for around 2,500 restaurant, multi-brand. When you go to Starbucks, you have a very consistent temperature experience, very clean toilets. I mean, some of things you can resonate. And HAPS told me, Gaurav, when you go to KFC, can you tell me all your 1,200 restaurants have same temperature? In my mind, yes, I'm spending it. I'm giving the electricity bill. But when I have the highest peak customer load, can the temperature be 21 degrees? And when it is less customer load, can it be 24 degrees, which is brand standard? I have no way to check it. And I used to say it is micro controls. Sometimes we forget, and as you rightly said, when we run bigger ships, and most of us are running bigger ships, we have no bandwidth to run microcontrols, and that's where HAPS team helped us. We are a tough customer. I know it took us a lot of time for HAPS to convince me, but I realized what he's saying, because what he was asking, and all of us are asking, can somebody tell me what is happening? I don't think any of us is worried about control gaps. We are resilient. We can fill it up. What I am worried is what we don't know. Do we know what is happening at this point of time on HVAC system at our store? The answer is no. We did a lot of work on that on technology front, and I still remember it's $500,000 saving on our store's cost. We did a complete math. And I did everything possible to challenge HAPS. 8% is net power reduction. Doing nothing, it's just machine is doing it for you. And most importantly, I think it has a lot of buy-in from our stakeholders. See, in the end, a store manager has to buy in out. Your store vertical has to agree, okay, this is the right thing to do. I think that's where I realized once technology comes in, the biggest benefit is microcontrols. Now, all of us do bigger control. We are CFOs. We know balance sheet. It's all right. But can we do microcontrols? And we are again working with HAPS on a very big project, because I'm convinced it's a bit of an investment. It's absolutely okay. But if my customer gets a consistent experience of a product, I think that gives you a repeat customer experience. And sometimes we forget in our drive to get immediate results. It took us 6 months to realize the results. But I can tell you the return is like disproportionately higher in terms of repeat customer experience, the audit scores, our ability to challenge some of the status quo. I will close it with a remark that we actually got to an extent that 35% of my maintenance team, which all of us run stores, not needed, no? Because they are doing a job which machine is doing. They can better do a preventive maintenance, where we work with HAPS team, and okay, can we monitor when this freezer will be down? Do a maintenance before it is down. As you rightly said, freezer down means that product is gone. No, it will thaw. So I think I'm a big promoter of technology, but thanks HAPS being very close supporter and partner in the whole process.
Thank you, everyone, for the opening remarks. I think we covered, in fact, the entire spectrum of what this technology should do, in terms of sustainability, in terms of predictions, in terms of dashboards, in terms of reducing cost, in terms of giving you visibility of, what's happening in the store. So I think, looks like the entire spectrum of what we want is already very well known to the team here. Now, one other interesting thing that I've seen, and I've been in this space for more than 2 decades now, that in the past, it used to be the operations team, or it could even be the digital teams, who would spend lots of effort in evaluating a technology like this. So they will look at it purely from either a technology lens, that what am I getting from a technology perspective? Perhaps, let's say, a dashboard, or can I do this automation? Can I connect this? That used to be the focus. And then the operations teams also started coming in. That, okay, today, and to be fair to them, they're running the show without technology today, before we start. So there is a expectation that I'm doing everything right. So they come with a bit of skepticism that, I have, feet on street. I have people who are doing daily checks. I have people who are, maintaining registers, logbooks, etc. So how would technology be giving me that incremental? Like, for example, where will the savings come from? I'm already running a very tight ship. So there was a phase where operation team used to be really be the people to really convince about this program. But one very positive trend I've seen in the last couple of years, that the CFOs, instead of becoming the yes, no, they were always involved. Like, even if it was driven by digital or operation, the note would ultimately reach the CFO office, and a yes, no decision will come back. But I would never sit in front of a CFO, and the way like Gaurav and Samir, who have gone through this whole journey, they're able to talk the language of AI IoT. Nobody sat through those kind of discussions that, hey, what is the ROI? How are we going to get productivity benefits? What are the other hidden opportunities? And frankly, I've seen Samir going one step further, convincing the operations team that it's worth a try. Like let it get a chance, and we'll see how the results come in. So that has been a big change, that CFOs have not only become, I think, the budget owners in some sense, but also the evangelist. I think to me they are the most primary sponsors of a program like this. And sometimes it starts simply that, hey, my, like you mentioned, that suddenly 1 month my energy has doubled. That is a trigger for you to say that, hey, can we do something about it? And that's how then the action goes in. So why I wanted to dwell on this topic of CFOs playing a role is primarily from this lens, that I see that going forward, as somebody said in a panel discussion, that it's like CEO and the CFO, they are the primary use strategists in any enterprise, including retail. So both bring certain aspects, which together is basically taking the whole business forward. So from your perspective, like, what do you think are going to be some of the challenges when we adopt a technology like this, which is supposed to do all of this, but then again, it's not like all pervasive. I don't think it's still reached a stage where we can say, like a ERP system. Today we'll say we need an ERP system, period. I think there's still a stage where the leaders in each segment have adopted. Rest of it, like you mentioned, some people are looking for a certain scale. That at 50 stores, 50 sites, still I know exactly where the store is. I know the layout of the store. I've been to that store. So I don't need technology. But moment you are at 200, we have seen typically that's the tipping point where your eyes and ears don't tell you exactly what is happening at the site, and that's where you need somebody who can remove all the bias in reporting and tell you exactly what's coming in. So in that context, I wanted to understand that what, in your opinion, could be possible challenges as we go forward and adopt such a technology. Again, I leave it is an open house now. Anybody can pitch in.
I think first thing, it's a mindset change people have to do. People have to accept AI data and IoT to say whatever the results come. What happens sometimes in our discussions is, if I say to my CEO or MD sir that margins have improved, they're very happy. If I say margins have drawn down, report galat hai. How did it suddenly happen? So it's like, when the report shows what you want, the report is correct. But when the report shows if it is something is wrong, they say, no, report is wrong. You do another report. You do another report. I say, sir, whatever it is. So what I feel, what I have noticed is, people have to accept that it's just an input-output system, right? There has to be an adaptability on that. Then that is what is big change. What I think should be there in the mindset of all the leaders, that yes, first is ensure that data is going correctly into that. If you have ensured that whatever is the result, we have to accept it and start working towards it. In this process, what happens, we stop understanding the problem and we look in the report what is the error. But we don't identify, okay, something wrong is happening. System has already warned us. After 1 month, you realize, yes, report was correct and this was the wrong. 1 month has passed for us to make a corrective action. I think human mindset has to change for that. Adapt for this. Embrace this technology.
So perhaps you're right. I mean, so I work for Smollan, and we are the world largest on point of sales management. So let's say I have around 50,000 people. We do $12 billion of sales for our customers. We are like super expert on data and tech and AI. So the concept we say is not reactive approach from CFOs or finance guys to correct, but we say is upfront correct. So I know when I started with HAPS, the idea is, Gaurav, you have 200 stores, why not now? And once we started using technology, I realized we will do it at the time store is opening. So now when we approach a customer and, when we are reviewing so we are planogram experts. We have very strong image recognition software. So just to tell you, let's say for one of our customers, the biggest challenge is how the oil cans are placed when you go to a petrol store or when you go to a market. It took us 6 months because it's very haphazard way the cans are placed. We trained the search engine. Now, two things are happening I mean, they're a market leader, but still, as somebody rightly said, right inventory. You know, their biggest challenge is when we are talking to the CEO, Gaurav, I want right inventory to be there. We, the, the shelf is full, but not what we want to sell. He's selling what he wants to sell, which is not gelling with the thought process of the organization. And that's where we have aggressively put image recognition. Took us 6 months because we did all kind of permutation combination with all variants possible. And now we have a 96% success rate. Practically, there is a 3% uplift on a sale of 8,000 crore. Now you can imagine the inventory buildup which is happening. Secondly, you have a right mix of sales coming in. So when we work with our FMCG partners, again, very aggressively, as you know, we have done is technology integration with the planogram management. Now when you enter a store, you know, once the store which are managed by us, I mean the brand which is managed by us, will be very differently placed in modern trade as compared to our competitor. You know, because we have done a research, we have very strong planogram management, and most importantly, as you rightly said, it has no emotion now. This is what it is. You know, what we have done, we have detached manual reporting to now AI-driven reporting. Secondly, what we say is stepping up. You know, that's a term I'm using for data and AI is we are stepping up the talent. Nobody is going to lose jobs. We need people to think. If somebody says somebody can do our job, I'm saying in another 100 years not possible because we think. AI can tell, absolutely, can predict, but it doesn't have gut feel. I have gut feel. When I take a call, okay, it's fine, everybody's saying no, but I can say yes. I think that's what we are doing. So we are using very aggressively AI. So the sales team now doesn't do sales like planogram management. It's all done by the IR. They know how it will happen. They see the phone and they say, okay, this chocolate is not rightly kept. Now they are enticing customer. So what we are saying, can customer take a step up? Because somebody is, you know, talking to them at a store. So in my mind, I think we are taking a step away from reactive approach. And as a CFO, I mean, have to take some kind of, I will say, educating our stakeholders. But I've realized once you do a preventive thing at the start of the process itself, the returns are immense, no? Because there is no correction you are doing after 2 years. So that's the way I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the challenge is when you adopt for any change is the impact, and I think people getting aligned to the objective and the way that objective has to be finally quantified, and because we, as is rightly said, the mindset change is a bigger aspect here, and people will always look to fail things bigger initiative by changing the goalposts and changing the objectives. So it is very important at the beginning of any adoption that the objective is clearly defined. It has been signed off between people who are driving strategically and people who are going to execute and then continue, right? So I think that is one big area for any new technology or any change management, uh, which becomes a challenge and has to be very clearly defined.
So, I'll just share my experience. So, a couple of things we have already, one of the project we ran is Kaizen project in our organization, wherein yeah, so but it's a different kind of, it is more of technology focused, right, where people come up with a different idea, and there was a 2-3 sessions they were presenting to us, even some samples from the market, how it is doing. Actually, go very deeper into this. That actually now probably we are taking one out of like 3-4 proposal, taking one of the proposal and pursuing it actually, right? And it is purely related to technology, very deep technology. Same way, we have rationalized the approval process for AA applications. A lot of AA applications comes for the approval. We are not going more by at a certain amount. We are just keeping it like approved, because let the people test it the different part of application, and then after 6 or 9 months probably the consolidation can be looked into, because if we don't give them liberty, people will not have that freedoms to experiment multiple things, and till the time we don't experiment, actually will not come to know what's, and if the amount is small, it's better, right? So we kind of done that thing. Couple of organizations are doing, like they are appointing AI specialists within the organizations, right? So they are basically coordinating with everyone and making sure organization up in terms of the AI. And that's a wonderful idea, I would say, right? So it keeps everybody on the toes whether they are adopting new technology or not. And just one thing I've noted down in our previous conversation, like for example, in infra, when we talk about the AI, probably right way to, I mean, another way I would say, not right way, to approach to the mall directly, eventually the retailer will start adopting it. So that could be the way, like probably easiest way I would say. So if we convince the mall owners and the mall chain, probably it will start making sense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, please come. We are into the discussion, but please feel to join.
Yeah, that's my take on this.
Yeah, I agree that yes, technology is important, and what you have rightly pointed out is adaptability and acceptability from the persons who is going to use it. It is important to convince them basically. I share one example. There is small technology basically. In the earlier days of retail, we are counting the customer entry with some counter and these things. There was no technology, no cost. Okay, say the storekeeper was himself is counting that and then sharing the data, how much conversion is there, how much is UPT is all there, but there was no cost. Okay, then we tried let's try to put some counter in the RFID enabled and all these things, but it comes with the cost. And if comes with the cost, monthly cost, operation cost, continuously internet connectivity cost, store becomes from positive green to red, basically. It's a small cost. So it depends on the every organization, basically, and every stores, every format, when the technology is needed. I feel just technology is important. Wherever person wants to use it in a profitable manner. Putting too much technology in every field is also not right. It depends on the organization goal and all. What he's saying is certain organization want to have the technology first and then start. And certain organization will profitably first. Once we make the profit, then we enable ourselves to develop more technology. It depends on the organization, basically.
I think the point, Sami had made that there should be freedom to experiment. Yeah. See, most of the time we shoot down an idea because, on paper maybe it's not making sense. So, but what you said that, maintain small budgets, let teams not struggle with, getting, let's say, a few lakh rupees to experiment with the technology. And then, of course, after 6-9 months, you evaluate the merits of scaling it up and all. But at least the culture is there that, okay, we will try and get technology in various aspects of, retail operation. So that's a very good thought. Yeah.
So just few things I would like to add. Like you mentioned about CFO and technology. So I'll just give one example. So a couple of months back, I joined Aditya Birla Lifestyle Brands as CFO. So on the day when I met my CEO, so first thing he told me is that as a CFO, you'll have to also partner on IT and tech implementation within the organization. So then on day one, it was very clear expectation, which I was also happy about it. So from the day one, the expectation was clear from the leadership is that CFO has to partner on all tech implementation. But couple of challenges which you talked about, that what all challenges could be there in the overall tech implementation. I think the biggest piece is implementation itself, apart from mindset, which you talked about, Samir, that our objectives are clear, or mindset is there or not. On top of this, the biggest challenge comes in implementation. How effective our implementation is, because that's the make and break in any technological implementation. So that's a very, very crucial aspect. I've seen project failing, I've seen project being so successful also, both sides. And there are a lot of learnings from failures as well, personally to me. So that's the one thing which is very, very critical. The another piece which as a finance and a tech guy we normally struggle is there's a lot of noise in the market. If you start getting into a new implementation, scouting for new tool, there are hundreds of options available, and we really don't know which one will work better for us. How many tools you can evaluate? You can't evaluate and do POC with multiple tools and hundreds of tools. That's another challenge which I would say personally I have faced not only in GST times, even post GST, and many occasions. Whether it will be suit our requirement, it won't suit our requirement, whether it will fit in whether I'll be able to configure my policies there, not able to do it. So there are a lot of ifs and buts in the evaluation stage. That's another challenge, which generally we face in implementation time, and that creates a lot of noise, and gut feeling then comes into picture. Okay, this will work. Okay, let's do it. That's the only piece which we we should make or break. So that nobody can take from us. So that's where you apply your judgment, and yeah. That's
See, one thing I would like to add, the CFO, besides only taking a aerial view, have to go on up to the minute of details to select the best implementation and the best implementation partners that suits their requirement. So taking a lot of demonstration and POC from lot of stakeholders will not solve the purpose, but what best suited with real-time examples will be in positive, and with the positive mindset can be adopted to.
There are not so many use cases actually in the market as of now. So
No, I'm just giving an example.
yeah, absolutely, I agree with you.
But I can tell you, I mean, so when we work with HAPS, we were running the program for 400 stores, which is 40% of my, size. But I think what I realized, that we have a reach. When we are calling, we are talking to HAPS. I mean, he was personally monitoring it to the extent I was of the view implement everywhere. I mean, every single rupee. I have a concept of micro controls. I'm not worried about bigger control. They're taken care of by our talent. But HAPS no, Gaurav. I mean, where we have a ROI. I mean, that when partner tells you, I want lesser business, but where I can demonstrate results. That also is very interesting conversation with partners, because why somebody will say no to a bigger business. So I think, as you rightly said, we have to meet people, but in the end, you also need somebody maybe a bit less capable, but they are more responsive. You can call to them directly, they will personally come. They have that fire to give you right thing. I mean, sometimes we get stuck in ROIs. Not everything is cash in the end. Sometimes it's a right partner. A cheapest tool may not be the right tool always. Bit costly tool can give an immense experience to customers. I mean, let's say when we do planogram, it's a costly service. But just imagine 300 crore of inventory uplift for a market leader who is losing share to competitors. See, in the end, if you're a market leader, your biggest challenge is not market growth. Your biggest challenge is every new entrant is actually taking pie from you. Because that's what life is. So I think we as a CFOs, if we push technology first, and being on a front rather than being a reactive approach, and if we have funds for it, I think that's the best combination.
Maybe some pilot run can also be done besides giving the whole of the changes in.
Misha, I would also like to give you an opportunity. So the team has spoken about how AI IoT is becoming critical for CFOs, and we're also talking about how CFOs are playing an increasingly bigger role in evaluating such a technology, deciding the success factors, and as Gaurav is saying, even deciding which partner is better, etc., etc. So, what has been your viewpoint on this?
Uh, See, practically, basically, technology now is integral part of every function. And finance is where, you play with such a lot of data. So technology is extremely critical. So we have also exercised, so we have moved a gradual transition from a protocol Excel based or a lot of manual movement or reporting to an automated reporting. And I'm sure, it helps. And I agree with him, it is. So my experience with some of the companies, good companies, and sometimes, you get a solution from a simple person from your organization also. So I have an experience where a lot of manual things, somebody will say, okay, I can do something in Python and I can solve your problem. So something somebody was doing for like 10 hours, 12 hours, now that code is doing automatically. So I think, the solution, the mindset to get a solution is required. And it can be a very small company, your in-house employee, or it can be a big consulting firm. That mindset of top management is needed. Okay, I need to find out a solution. There has to be a better way to do this. There can be, faster, speedier, more accurate way to manage this situation. And then the solution can be arrived.
Thank you. I move to the next dimension of this whole, program that leverages AI and IT, and that's about the commercial models. So, being I would say a new, aspect that is coming into consideration, I think commercial models are still stabilizing. Like, every service provider, every, customer who's trying to adopt this technology, the commercial models are being discussed across the table. There is no universal commercial model that, see, at the end of the day, any commercial model should have a win-win criteria, that it works for the, enterprise, it works for the service provider. Moment it is tilted in one way or the other, sooner or later it's going to give the initiative a bad name, and perhaps, it's like once you burn your fingers, you may take much longer to experiment with a similar initiative later on. So again, I want to go around the table and see that based on your wisdom from a commercial model perspective, how should an AI IoT technology be evaluated? One clear lens is show me the savings and the technology has to earn for itself. That's one way of looking at it. Second is, okay, I will look at benefits during the pilot stage or perhaps during the initial rollout. But once I'm set that, this is a very clear opportunity, then I'm not going to be taking out calculators, every month and figuring out how much did I save, not save, etc. So these are things that I think are necessary to be discussed so that there's also some sort of consensus that's built up that what's the right model, especially for all of you who have actually tried your hand at some of these technologies. So again, we can just see if anybody has any viewpoint on that.
I will start. So, we do that for our customers because we do a very, I would say, very tech-driven sales because we manage modern trade. To give you a number, we are present in every modern trade in country. We touch around 2 lakh point of connect every month. We are present in 60% of villages with more than 10,000 population. So the amount of data we generate is immense. So 2 things we are doing. So when we pitch to a customer, so we're not really worried about ROI. What we are saying is, are you sweating your assets properly? See, it's very easy to hire a field sales force. Go to the market and take an order. I mean, that's the approach we normally have, or for stores towards sales. We are seeing sales per day. Now, what we are saying, can those guys step up? There is enough opportunity to do sales to your competitors, no? I mean, you are not a monopoly. I mean, all of us operate in an environment where somebody else is also doing the same sales which we are doing. Once we free up that time, that has no commercial value because you only realize it when your sales team is doing the real job of doing sales, not really counting products, not really tracking whether the products are placed properly, and then reporting back. So we did a broad math, around 20% of the time, a retail stores guy is actually doing reporting to a level up because some of us wants to see hourly sales. The sales guy is looking at her 2 ghante mein sale. So we are detaching it. We are making it very systematic perhaps. Now that can be a mix of 2 things. One, we'll free up sales time. I mean, absolutely you can go and then instead of doing farming, you can actually go and harvest. You will start taking competition space. Secondly, once you adopt technology, I mean, absolutely it will come at a cost, but that's an investment we are looking at. It may have a bigger ROI in terms of 3-4 years, but what you get is higher point of connects. What you get is bigger share of the market. And when you see an absolute sales number, that's absolutely okay to have a right ROI. Secondly, you are getting consistent experience. So let's say you go and you buy a product which we handle for one of a very big customer. They are market leaders. You will see a very consistent approach. And when I joined the company 2 months back, I was also wondering, why customer is going, and I visited a couple of stores. We stand for 6-7 hours and we see it's a very systematic way customer picks chocolate. It's set in a housewife mind what their kids want. We may not realize it, but let's say I like chocolate. I want a chocolate which is peanuts, and I know where it has to be at the store when the shelf is there. I mean, that's very subtle way of using technology and nudging a customer to a right product. I think so. That's where technology can help you. Very few of us see it in that lens, but let's say we are a sales expert. I mean, have no other way, because our job is only to increase sales. 98% team is sales staff, and we do sales for most of the very big retail, FMCG customers or tech customers or other entities. So I think once we see tech from a bit higher lens, more of a business enabler, I think ROI and all will come in because you got stickiness, no? So that's the way we say it.
Yeah, so if I've understood correctly, like you're saying that while all these gains are happening, but the technology necessarily doesn't have to be evaluated purely from one dimension, that is there a gain or not gain? Because sometimes what happens with technology is that the more you get into what it is capable of, more opportunities you can unmine. But whereas, like we have seen some projects which struggle that day one, the objective was, energy savings. Like the whole technology was boiled down to one metric, that I have an electricity bill. Will it reduce next month or not? If it is not, technology has failed. So it's a very, I think one you can say subjective, but at the same time it's one-dimensional, evaluation of technology. Now, it's fair, but in my opinion, yes, one, technology should move the needle on the electricity bill. There's no two ways about it. But the more collaborative approach would be that, hey, what is the possibility beyond that electricity bill? Can I do something else? Like, again, for example, some of our, customers, like we put all this technology, they are 10 years old. And every year incrementally, they identify one more opportunity. They're saying, hey, I've invested in this infrastructure. Now, the whole opportunity is about one additional sensor, which is few thousand rupees. So one of the things they wanted to do was that, hey, I want to monitor the the sound level inside my store, because I have this music that is playing in the background, and I want to make sure my music is just at the right level, and then it is played throughout the operating time of the store. Now this has got nothing to do with energy, but for the technology to give you that benefit, all you need is a few thousand rupee sensor that connects to the same data pipeline, and it gives you the same data that, hey, what was the loudness level at what point of time. So this is engagement, that what the technology can do, versus saying that I started with that one objective. If it is not met, this technology is not for me.
I tell you a very classic case. When we were working with HAPS and when we were opening new stores, you have glow signs, right? I mean, you may not realize, but glow signs consume a lot of power. Some of you know. And I was talking to a sales guy and with a promoter. The biggest statement was, when a new store comes in, I want to ensure glow sign is on, because people want to see KFC has arrived. A store is matured, I'm absolutely okay. Glow sign is not there. Market has matured, people know the store exists. We did a broad math, the delta came to around 2.5 crore of saving. And we talked to HAPS that I want system to drive it now. Let's say stores manager left at a high street store, forgot to open that glow sign. How will I know? No way to know. We have the tech, and HAPS told, okay, Gaurav, very easy. System is configured. The moment store is shut down, because the moment electricity goes down, the glow sign will come up, or at a 7 o'clock, glow sign will always stay on. If somebody switch it off, we will again switch it off. That's what we did. I mean, and we realized it has no cost saving, it's an investment, because we are consuming more power. But what we realized is tracking the night orders for that store. Is night delivery happening? Is people are aware the store is there? So I think you're absolutely right. But again, we took a hit of 50-60 lakhs, waited for 6 months. But once the customers start seeing the sign, because they're driving, they're seeing the store is there, they will start coming in, they will start ordering on the app. And since the store is there, you have faster delivery with a better customer experience. So it took us 5 months. I know it went through a difficult phase, but in the end, customer is happy.
So it's a medium or long-term approach.
Absolutely. Tech being tech is not a god, no?
So,
somebody like us is driving tech.
So ideally, there are three types of tech implementation. One which is core, which is must to have to run a business operation. Let's say maybe ERP. It is must to have, correct? So there you won't do an ROI calculation, correct? Because it is a must to have it. Second is your long-term approach, as you mentioned, where you don't see cost savings, but it has a long-term business enablers. Again, you won't see here the ROI, but you will see the one-time implementation cost and at least assess whether it has a significant business impact or not. And the last piece is where you do a completely a pure play cost saving initiatives. That's where you do a complete ROI calculation. A lot of, let's say, if I'm automating my AP processes, I would definitely like to see whether ROI is coming or not. If not, then of course I won't do it. If I'm automating my reconciliation process, I will have to see that, okay, one is my reconciliation related issues are sorted, but at the same time, whether I'm optimizing my cost also. So there are certain areas where you definitely need to have a ROI calculation, where your primary objective is to save cost, not enable business. That's my view.
When we do customer touch points, I'm looking at customer becoming identity. See, the biggest challenge is repeat customer, but we don't realize the customer acquisition cost is very heavy. I don't want to lose somebody to my competitor chocolate brand. We track shelf space. Through AI, we know 60% shelf space should be with us. Once I have 60% space, there is no way you will not buy our product, because I have already reduced competition to 40%.
Also considering the repeat buyer.
See, now again, it's very difficult because you don't take data for the customer, but if in a shelf 60% product is mine and it is run by my team, there is no way you will not pick up that product. But we call it sales by viewing. I mean, once you have a planogram set, it's very natural for people to buy a product which is more there at the shelf. Now, when you go to a store next time, just see what is being placed more at the store is selling more. Why otherwise somebody will keep it? psyche we have realized customer has. I mean, you just see from your perspective. Our kids buy more, but is very well visible and reachable. So both the things we track for our customers.
One thing I would like to add here is, so what we see as a finance folks sometimes, right, there are folks in the product, operations, sales, right, and apart from their core areas, they must be doing some of the other things, right, right, and we are okay to have that in place, right. So it's, while calculating the ROI, we should not be missing that, right, if we are freeing them for their core function, okay, it adds a lot of value to the organization. If sales guy, right, he right now maybe 3 days in a week doing sales job, 2 days probably doing some administrative things. If I'm free up for 2 days, that 2 days definitely will have some direct or indirect benefit in the sales. So very important when you look at any proposal, I mean how it will free up the proposal, and even keep observing, right, how the person in the respective function is doing the core function which they are not supposed to do. A product guy may not be required some approval for flow, some paperwork, something which is actually not adding value in the function which is handling. So it's very important to look at that, and probably it's also a point, right, where in a nowadays, like when the Gen Z is working, right, so they really, if someone is in a particular function, right, he would like to focus on that rather than doing the admin task which is related to. So retention, it helps in retention as well. So these are the two things I would like to add on this. Yeah.
I think that's a very important point, and one of the things that, especially in retail, is important is customer, like all of us agree on that. So the amount of time that your store team spends with the customer, I think that's really the ROI. Everything else related to the store should not be his botheration. So there should be technology which is taking care of, if there's a fault in the equipment, without him having to even register a complaint, it is getting picked up by somebody and somebody has come back and fixed it. He didn't need to bother. His, DG sets, his UPS, his, signage are all working fine. His only focus right now is, I have a customer and how do I convert that customer visit into a sale. So I think that's a very valuable point. With this, I think we are top of the hour, and I wanted to thank all of you for a very engaging conversation. And hopefully, we have recorded this session. This will be available to a lot of people outside through various social channels, and they will, I have no doubt, gain immensely, from this conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we tell them one thing? I mean, we mentioned if any personal remarks are there, can you clean them up if it is going to social channel?
No, sure. So basically, after the whole recording, there will be editing, which will be done by the RAI team. Maybe the
each one of you, if you are okay, then only we can.
yeah. So
Because we have generally without consent we don't even we can't.
yeah.
Because data protection.
आप समझ गए हम क्या कहते हैं?
So यहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग close door is like Bhavin from Trent. He can
Yes.
only talk in
Some of
close
us
door.
work for listed
He is not
clients.
part of any channel. He said I can't be part because Trent is listed company.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Some of us work for listed companies. Yes.
That's the reason.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you.
Thank you very much.